It's your realtor Dave, and I am at a brand new community, and I'm going to show you basically from farmland to utility dig-ins and street preparing to forming the boards, setting the foundation, framing, siding, interior work. I'm taking you all the way from cradle to grave on how they make a home community. So we're going to first start off with raw land, right? That farmland that you see out there. A developer will buy that land. Once they buy that land, then they hire a construction company to come and start developing the infrastructure for the community. See all this big equipment out there? They're going to level the land. They're going to dig in the land, kind of like what you see right now. I'm actually in the middle of a new street. Now, if you can see, that's probably a little bit higher than my knee. So probably about 24 inches in. They're gonna put some base in here. They'll eventually asphalt it. So that street that you're walking on, it's about almost 2 feet deep. They're also gonna start tying in the underground utilities. And you can see some of that's right here behind me. They're gonna put the plumbing in for the fire hydrants. They're gonna run the sewer through here so that the houses can tie into it. They're gonna run the water through here. They're gonna run the electricity through here and get all that set up so that they can come in here, pave the roads, and start the next phase. Now, once they get everything all set up, they're already gonna have the dimensions and the GPS coordinate locations for the lots. But they're gonna use stakes like this that's gonna say whatever the lot is. So this is lot 9 is right here and lot 10 is right there. And they're gonna use that to figure out where the boundary lines are for the property so they can start setting the floorboards up for the house. So the next step is once they get the lot identified, they know what structure they're gonna put on that lot, they're gonna start framing it in with these boards. Now these boards are what's gonna hold the foundation together. They're gonna go and start digging in here, building up bags, running the plumbing through there, putting the post-tension cables, all the stuff that needs to happen to be able to pour a slab is gonna take place inside of those wood frames. Now, as you can see right here, some of the underground utility pipeline is right there. That's for the internet. And they've started putting in the phone lines, the internet, things like that. And they've dropped a meter here. That way they have power on site for the power tools to get everything ready to go. Now the next thing that's gonna happen, I'm not gonna go too far over there because they're working. They're setting up the bags. And then they're gonna start putting in all the plumbing and everything that they need to put into the foundation before they pour the concrete. Here's a good example of what they're working on right now. So in this particular house, they've already laid the plumbing out, and then they're gonna bag it up and then put the post-tension cables on over them, and then they're gonna pour the concrete and get everything ready. Now, I know what you're asking. What are post-tension cables and these bags and stuff like that? So let's go check it out. Now, as you can see, they have enclosed the form boards all the way. They have the bags in right now, and they've got the post-tension cables. That's what those red cables are. What happens is they pour the concrete on them, and then over time, they're gonna start pulling those cables and getting them tighter, and they have to get pulled to a certain tension, and then that way the foundation can harden to the specifications that the engineer requires them to. So they have these little white caps right there. I call them stairs, but they have all these little stairs over there to keep the cables off of the bags. That way the concrete can encase them fully instead of just hanging out on top of them. Now about 5 o'clock in the morning, the cement trucks will start coming. They'll bring a big machine that the cement trucks feed to that has a long pole, and they'll guide the pole around here and drop the concrete where it needs to be at. Once it's all kind of leveled out, they'll bring special equipment in that look like floor buffers, but it's leveling out the foundation. Now, I do recommend that you do get a pre-pour foundation inspection done before you move forward with the house, just to make sure that everything that's supposed to be in there is in there, because once it gets like this, it's really hard to change it. Now, those post tension cables I was telling you about, how they get pulled at a certain tension, here's what they look like. So they get them all lubed up and greased so that they come and they will slide through the sleeves. That red covering over them, it's just a sleeve for these cables, and they'll tighten them up. One end is anchored in, and then one end is loose so they can pull everything out. Once it's at the tension that it needs to be, they'll come and cut them off. Bada bing, bada boom, no more crazy cables around. So you remember me telling you why it's important to get a pre-pour inspection? Well, you gotta make sure that all the plumbing is the specified distance away from the exterior walls or interior walls, however you wanna get it done. For example, I had a client that didn't opt to do a pre-pour inspection because they wanted to save some money. Well, the plumbers didn't realize that they were having a extended patio, because they run everything from the back of the house, because the front elevation stays the same, but the back pretty much stays the same. Well, they didn't get the pre-inspection, so my inspector couldn't check it out, and the plumbing for the hall bathroom ended up in the middle of a bedroom because the plumber didn't account for the difference in the patio extension. Now, check this out. This is your plumbing, right? This is your wall. This is your exterior right here. It's probably not a good thing to have your sleeve right here for this plumbing, but they exposed to the elements. So they're gonna have to come in and chip this out and move this pipe. But if they had done an inspection ahead of time, probably wouldn't have to happen. So it takes about 30 days or so for the concrete to cure. Meanwhile, home builders keep building houses on the concrete, and then it gets tested to make sure that it hit the right PSI for the hardness. I've been to one builder that they got bad concrete. They got the house pretty much all the way done. The concrete never hit the hardness level it's supposed to. So the concrete company had to pay for that house. They ended up demoing the house, pulling up the slab, and it's starting all over again. So a costly mistake. But what's happening in between them pouring this and framing is a truck will come and it'll drop off all the wood. Now these houses are prefabricated at different factories, and then they're trucked in. So if you ever see the trucks that have all this wood that looks like triangles and squares, that's somebody's house. So this particular builder does it like that. They do have stick-built builders where they just drop the 2x4s, 2x6s, whatever, individual pieces of wood at the house, and then the framers grab what they need and they build it on site. This particular builder is not doing that. There are no lots here that have wood hanging outside. I want to try and show you so you could see. They put it together like a Lego, right? Piece 1 and 2 get together, 3 and 5 get together, however they work it. It's numbered, it's set up by an engineer, especially the roofs. So they'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way down. But this is what a framed house looks like. So you see these boards right here? They're gonna come out. They're basically there to help the framers keep everything aligned so they can tie everything together. You'll see them on the ground too. So like this one right here, it's tied into the ground to kind of help everything out. If you see, and you're gonna thank me for this, if you see, and I'll go try and find one, a house that has one of these boards on the ground, you don't want to kick it. There's a reason why, okay? I found one, so let's go check it out. Okay, you see that board right there, the little one right there? So it's holding up this board here, and it's keeping the wall up. Well, after everything's put together, they're gonna take these out, but a lot of times they leave those little ones there. Why? Because they're nailed to the concrete, to the slab. So they'll take the loose stuff out and come back later and take the little stuff out that's hammered to the foundation. So if you just see one over there, don't just go and kick it, because you're probably gonna get a sore foot. Now over there, you might be asking, Dave, why are some of these green and some of them not green? So the green ones are all along the exterior plate, the bottom plate of the wall. And that green stuff is a pest defense system. So it's to keep pests from coming into the house. Now, as they get ready to put the drywall up, the pest control company will come in and they'll spray that same green stuff up about 2 feet high or so along the entire house. That way, the theory is if some wood destroying insect like a termite or something like that is going to come in and eat, they're not going to get that high, and it'll deter them from coming into the house. So the next step, once you get framed, is you got to put the roof on, and you got to put the weatherproofing on the outside. Now you see this is called T-ply. T-ply is like the cheapest stuff you can put on the exterior of a house. It works, but you'll see there's green and there's red. It should all be green because like the red, if I remember correctly, it's used for like interior spaces, not exterior. But who knows, you just gotta use what you use. Now you see these little tape lines right here? So there's hurricane straps. They'll put them up, and anything that's exposed needs to be taped. So that's a good job right there. If you see that, they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. If you see any gaps or tears or holes in the paper or anything that's attached to it, then that needs to be covered up. So this is a really good job right here. Now, if you can see, it's shiny up here. They put radiant deck barrier up there. That's awesome. That's nice because some people, they'll just put wood up there and it really doesn't help control the temperature of the house. So radiant deck barrier, very good. Now, this house is already a little bit more advanced. They've already got the utilities in here. They've got the electricity run. It does not look like, oh, they do have the water run. So they've got the water run through here. So the AC is also set up in here. So we're doing pretty good. They're going to do their final touches in here, and then the next step is to get the drywall up. Now I also recommend that you get a pre-drywall inspection done, because if you have any issues before they get covered up, they're going to get found, because it's a lot easier for the builder and you to have it fixed before you move in versus having to tear out drywall because something got mixed. Now, they'll put the tubs in here, they'll fill them with water. Basically, they're doing a static pressure test to make sure that there's no leaks in the plumbing. A good builder will run a camera through there, do a hydrostatic test to make sure that everything is good and ready to go for you. The next step that you're going to see is you're going to start to see the windows and doors go in. You're going to start to see the decking put in for the attic so they can get everything ready for the HVAC system, for the insulation that's going to go up in there as well. This home is getting ready to be drywalled. If you see these little plates up here, those plates right there, they're metal. You'll see them around, they're smaller plates around the bottoms as well. So what happens is if the electric line or water line is too close to the edge of the board, they'll put that plate in there so that if you try to screw something through, it won't hit that water line or the electric line. So if you've ever tried to hammer something into the wall or screw something into the wall and it just spins and spins and spins, you're probably hitting one of those plates. I don't know if you can see it right there or not. It's one of these boards right here. So these boards go up into the roof line, and it helps fresh air come into the house. So it's part of the way that they keep fresh air in the house and kind of keep the humidity and things like that down. The last thing that's going to be done before drywall goes up is the insulation is going to be put in. It's going to be put in anything that faces the exterior. So exterior walls, the ceilings, it's all going to have insulation. Interior walls will not have insulation because the entire house is encapsulated. So think of it like you wouldn't put in a cooler another like insulation device in a cooler, right? Now, you know you're getting really close also when they start to drop the drywall. Once the drywall starts making its way to the house, you know you're getting ready to have that shell enclosed, and it's going to start looking more like a home than a construction site. Do you remember me telling you back at the frame stage that you're going to start to see like the green stuff on the about 2 feet high or so? So they've come through here, but they missed a couple spots. So we're going to have to come back in here. Again, this is why you get a pre-drywall inspection, just in case those got missed by the third-party independent inspector or the city. Your inspector can identify them and we can get them rectified before it becomes an issue. It's a big day. We've got drywall on the walls. Everything's starting to look like a home versus a construction zone. You can start to make the definition of the rooms out. You can see where the vents are going to be. You can see where the windows are going to be. Obviously, you would know where they're at. But it just helps you make a better definition of what the house is truly going to look like versus trying to figure out between 2x4s what's what. Now, once you get the drywall in, the next thing that's going to happen is The exterior is going to start to get painted. They're going to start putting the texture on the walls, and then they're going to paint the walls inside of the house. So once you see the painter come, you know you're getting really close. So now that the drywall's up, the drywall's been textured, we're going to start seeing the trim coming in, the cabinetry coming in, and if they're going to put in tile or LVP, that's going to start coming in as well, just like it is right here. Carpet is going to be one of the last things to come in. While the contractors are working inside, contractors are working on the outside too. They're putting out little trim features, they're putting up the lights, they're painting the exterior, they're gonna start putting out dirt to level the land, sod, you name it, it's gonna start happening. Even the installation of the doorbell. The next thing that you're gonna see, since we saw cabinets are going in over there, once they're in, you're gonna start getting your countertops. The lights are gonna get put in so they can get tied into the utilities. You're gonna start to see the fixtures getting put onto, or the hardware being put onto the appliances. You're probably even gonna see the garage door coming in, maybe even the installation of a hot water heater. We haven't gotten to that point yet, but all the outlets are in, all the lights are in, the final doors are in versus the blanks that they put in. So a lot of stuff's happening right now. This house is probably about 30 to 40 days away from closing. You can see here, the yard is ready for sod. Doesn't look like they're putting a sprinkler system in. If they were, that would get put in, and then the grading would be put in, and then the sod. So since there's no sprinkler system, it appears, they're probably gonna put the sod in right before closing or just after closing, just to make sure that it doesn't die. Now here's a prime reason why I say make sure you get gutters on a home. You see this line right here? We just had a little bit of rain, and over time this rain's going to erode this, and it can potentially get underneath the foundation and start to cause issues. So you want to make sure that you get gutters on your house. They're a couple $1,000s, but look at it as an insurance policy versus an expense, because $2,000 for gutters is a whole lot better than $30,000 for a new foundation. That's not even new, it's just repaired. This particular house is probably about a week or two away from being able to close. We've got the countertops in, the cabinets are in, the lights are in, the fixtures are in, outlets are in, light switches are in, windows are in, LVP's in. It looks like the only thing that's missing right now is carpet. The fence is in, and I really do recommend that you get it stained. It's gonna make it look nicer. It's gonna let it look nicer longer and last longer, which is going to save you money as well. Now here in Texas, if it's flat on your side, it means it's yours. If you see the 2x4s across it from your side of the property, it's technically your neighbor's fence. They're called good neighbor fences. I don't know how they make good neighbors, because everybody complains about fixing them, and then you get that one neighbor that doesn't want to pay to have it fixed. Not very good neighbor fence. Now I know that I've gone through months worth of work in just a matter of minutes, and your head's probably spinning, but let's go check out what the final product looks like. So we've made it to a completed home. We've got the carpet in, we've got the drywall in, everything is in the house. So it's all set up, ready to go for you. But that is how the entire home process works. From dirt that needs to be dug up, to framing, to final punch. This is the real estate process. If you have any questions about anything in the real estate process, let me know. If you're in the San Antonio area and you have any real estate needs, let me know. I'm in the top 1% of real estate agents in the nation, and top 0.5% of real estate agents in San Antonio. So when you're working with me, you're working with a professional that got it from start to finish.